Hola Colchoneros, this is me, Alex, and I have with me as usual Saint Keeks, and we are having a very bizarre transfer window to be honest, and I mean like we didn't really sign anyone in the special transfer window for the Club World Cup. The talks were going on for Baina, like they feel like he would join us for the Club World Cup, and then eventually everything cooled down and then Fabrizio on Dazan said like along the way, along the transfer window progress, Baena Cardoso, all those deals will be finalized. But again, this is Atletico de Madrid, guys. Like, don't believe unless until like something is actually officially done. Because and then I'm gonna just like go straight up to our topics. I'll tell you guys. Like, we're gonna talk about the Theo Hernandez situation, and right now, like a situation which is pretty much building up is Andy Robertson from Liverpool. And then we're going to talk about the FIFA Club World Cup preview of the match against PSG. But before we start the preview of the match against PSG, let's just talk about this bizarre few days which we're having for like the left back position we have. Now, given this situation came out of the blue. So like everything was going well, I think for him and Al Hilal. Al Hilal gave 35 million to AC Milan, and I think everything was going fine. Like the club-to-club negotiations were agreed, and then but personal terms weren't agreed, and then eventually the deal fell off. Then, out of a surprise, Theo Hernandez said like I would like to join Atletico de Madrid. So he offered himself to Atletico de Madrid. Now, Atletico de Madrid assessed his option. They were looking. I mean, like we all know, like we need a left back, right? Like, like we need a massive upgrade on that position. Typically on the left hand side only with Baina and like a left back, potentially a very good one. So now everyone's talking about Theo Hernandez to Atletico de Madrid. Now, a few fans were not happy with this because again, the history we have with Theo Hernandez. But I think along the way, as like the day progressed, like throughout the week, I think half of the fan base was like in favor of Theo Hernandez with Atletico de Madrid because again, everyone was thinking about like it as like a good sporty way, like like Hernandez to Atletico de Madrid, like to discuss like it's gonna be a really good deal, and plus the fact that like we could have like get him for 20 to 25 million as well, which is very cheap. He's 27 years old. He was one of the best backs in the world a few seasons ago, and everything was going well. But like how City are, like we are cheap as fuck. We were giving them 15 million. They were asking for around 20-25 million, and then Milan was asking for a raise. Then we raised 1-2 million with every day passing by, like 16, 17, 18. And now, which comes, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, which I don't know what happened between a couple of hours. So, a lot of journalists said Theo Hernandez to Atletico de Madrid, it's a done deal, everything is agreed. This was 2 hours prior, okay, of the next twist coming in this bizarre transfer saga. And then after 2 hours, there's again news coming from different journalists that the deal is closed. I mean, like the deal has fell off. Like Atletico de Madrid is not going for Theo Hernandez anymore. Like they have opted out, which I think for me, like some journalists gave different reasons for it. Some said we couldn't meet the asking price, which was 25 or around 20 to 25 million. Some said we offered them 20 million, the deal was done, but someone within Atletico de Madrid said that they don't want to go for this option. And now there are like two I would say like two stories to this. One is we didn't offer enough money, and one is someone within Atletico de Madrid said no to this deal. So I just have this one question: like, if let's say like that specific person didn't want Atletico, sorry, didn't want Theo Hernandez in Atletico de Madrid, where was this person a week ago when all of this was happening? When all the negotiations were taking place, where was this person? Like, was he in a coma? Was he traveling? Like what was he doing? And then, really, at the end, like he pulled off that move. If this is true, again, there are two stories to this story. The next is we didn't offer enough money, which is I think again like you're getting the best left backs in the world for 25 million. Give the fucking money. Like, what are you like thinking about? Angel Correa might leave for 10 to 15 million to Tigres, which is again going on right now. But, I mean, like, you do have the money. You have the money from the sponsorships, Red Bull, Nike. You have the money from the concerts. I mean, Athletic have enough money right now, and like being cheap on that position, which we actually need, is really bizarre to me. Like, is this the revolution that you guys promised the fans? I mean, I don't understand to be honest. But like, I can go on and on this rant to be honest. But Finky, what do you think about this theory and the situation?
Very confusing. I I feel like we've talked about this, and I said, I personally, I think he's a great player. I don't like him, right? Like the fact that he came from our academy, pushed a move to get to Real Madrid, and they paid his release clause to play, and he barely played, and then he went to AC Milan. It's like, what was the point of any of this? But it's like at the same time, the thought process to me was a simple, well, that's that, right? To get to this point again is a bit strange. But if you look at Theo's, like, again, if I was to ignore my feelings and maybe say Atletico Madrid general fans' feelings of this, from a purely sporting point of view, this is possibly the best potential deal you could get. Instead of a young left back who could potentially grow into the team and these other things, you're getting a left back in his prime who is putting up very, very good numbers, who could potentially, assuming you get Bayana, by the way, I think the main reason that this deal could work is if Bayana comes in, you have Theo effectively as the flank holder, right? Then you have a very scale. You go from a left hand side, which is very mediocre with Galan or Gallagher or whatever. It didn't really work. To this could potentially be a game breaking level of left hand side compared to what it used to be last season. You could probably challenge a lot of very scary teams with doing it. On the flip side, the whole situation is strange because it's like, okay, so we're getting him for what, 20, 25 million? It's like, that seems like a good deal. I don't know how this is going to work because even if you say the sporting aspect, there's still a lot of, what do you call it? There's still a lot of grudges that come from that deal. Like there are still players from that period of time, like Griezmann, like Simeone, like even his son in Giuliano, who would have gone through this experience and would not have been as welcoming to Theo as maybe another club would have been. So you have to you're trying to wager in all these factors and it's like trying to figure out how this works out. All of a sudden it's happening and it's like, all right, so we most of the Atletico fans just say, all right, we'll this is what the fate is, so and so. Then the deal just crashes randomly. Somebody says no. Nobody knows who that somebody is. I personally think don't think, but my personally think is we just didn't offer enough money, and it really was just as simple as either us or the agent just didn't get enough money from the situation, and we just that was it. That was the end of the deal, and so we pretended like this whole story about all these other things. I was like, all right, we're cool. But there's a lot of reputable people who talked about the Teo deal. I thought it was as done as close as done. All of a sudden, we're talking about Andy Robertson. I don't know what's going on. But what I think I think the conclusion I would say before we get to the Robertson thing, my conclusion of this Teo saga is a simple one, which is I hope you all understand if we sell Molina, we are not getting a good replacement. It's gonna be awful. Trust and believe we do not have good targets. But anyway, let's talk about Andy Robertson next.
Exactly,
Let's talk.
exactly. I mean, exactly. I mean, like we were promised a revolution. Like we were all saying, like there's a revolution coming. Like where I don't understand, like what plans do we have in this transfer window? We see Real Madrid. They have their targets. They
They
just
bought their
lock in.
backline. They bought a new backline.
They get that person. They lock that person. Like they have something planned. Okay, like fine. Like we need this kind of a center back. Fine. This is the right choice. Let's go for him. Perfect. Deal done. Done. Arnold, Oyston, and then they have Masantuono now as well, which is again like I don't even like go with that Masantuono deal again and again. But
Mm.
like seriously, like, what the hell are we doing in the transfer window? What kind of revolution is this? Is this the revolution about like buying 30 plus year old guys? Is this the revolution?
Hmm.
Like, you want to create another old team, the average of like what, 32 years old, something like this? Because we never had like a young team. Our average age of the squad has always been over 30 plus. I don't understand when was the last time it was less than 30. I don't understand what are we going to like do with this club, to be honest. And then now comes after the Theo deal, like now comes the Andy Robertson deal. Like, what the hell? This guy's 31, coming from Premier League. He's not going to come in cheap from Liverpool. Liverpool is trying to replace this guy with Milos Kirkis from Bournemouth, and then you're
Hmm.
trying to like buy the guy who Liverpool is like replacing at the moment. You're buying a washed 31-year-old left back. I mean, like if this was 4 or 5 seasons ago, I'll take it. I'll take it happily. Like fuck you. Give me Robertson 4 or 5 seasons ago. Again,
Right.
this is 4 or 5
That's a
seasons
that's
ago.
a great point, right? Robertson in the past decade has been one of the best left backs in Europe. Amazing, amazing player. Why are we going after him after he just showed two bad seasons? What's going on? What's going on, man? This is the
Exactly,
one
and
season he's ever shown that has actually statistically been worse than Galan. How do you manage to go for that kind of player now?
exactly, it
I
doesn't
don't
make
know.
sense to me. Like what are we doing? Are we going after like is this like what's the Theo and the situation just to check like, oh, like like we gave fans a very good option with Theo Hernandez, but like the fans weren't happy, so like we have to like go for a different option. So that's why we're going for a 30 plus year old guy in Andrew Robertson. I mean, like I don't understand. Like, is this club really thinking about like winning the trophies, or like they just want to finish third every season? They just want to qualify for the Champions League every season. I mean, that should not be the goal anymore. Like they've been making these top for every season with a very, very, I think I would say mediocre team. Like I remember like the past few transfer windows where we just signed Galan and Witzel. That's it. That was only our transfer business. That's it, and we
Mm.
were just like relying on Simeone to like like to turn things around. But talking about this left back situation, so like you're telling me that you want to spend more money on a 31-year-old guy than you're gonna spend less money on a left back who's in his prime. Even though I know like we have a history with them, but I think again fans forget once the performances start to show. Fans forget, they get on your back, they support you. Imagine Fiorenzo putting his Real Madrid or Barcelona. Everyone will be chanting his name. But again, I mean, like this guy definitely knows. Like like I mean, like he was willing to come. Like it's not like he didn't know. Like he's gonna get a lot of backlash at that club. But still,
I
like he was willing to come. And if I'm telling you, like if this Andrew Robertson deal goes through, like I don't know what to say to be honest. I hope Andrew Robertson like literally like really makes his statement wrong, but he's a washed 31-year-old guy right now. He's past his
I
prime.
my views on this is there's some people who say, and this is almost like a Trippier 2.0, but it's like Trippier when he left Tottenham, his problem was his defending had become suspect, but his offense has always been good. His crossing, his playmaking, that was always a good part of Trippier. It was just his defense was suspect at that point in time. He goes to Atletico. Simeone comes in, says, I can fix that for you. You give me what you're good at. I'll improve what you're not good at. Right? We get 2 years, 2.5 years basically, of some of the best right back we've had in since not even
One
since
front.
one not even since
It's one
Fran.
front.
So two of the best years of a right back in the league at that point in time. I think you could honestly say Trippier was the best right back at that point in time because at that Carvajal was in and out of injury, wasn't really doing anything with Real Madrid, and then the opposite was Barcelona had um oh my gosh, I forgot his name. The guy who's actually a midfielder who's playing right
Emerson
back for
Royale?
years. No, no. He was in Real Betis at the time. Um, Spanish dude. He came from the academy. Um, whatever. When I come back to it, I'll come back to it. I'll mention it later. But
Wait, didn't
He
they
was
have Dani
effectively,
Alves coming back?
huh?
Did they have
He
Dani Alves coming back?
no, not Daniel Alves, but he was effectively the best right back in the league, and we got him defensively. He was amazing. You had him
Ah,
doing
Sergi,
insane stuff.
they had they had Sergino Dest.
No, not him.
Yeah,
He
the
was there,
guy
but
from
not him. I
USA.
wasn't talking about him.
Sergino.
I was talking about he was there in the Bayern lost with to Barcelona. Sorry, the Bayern like beaten of Barcelona. It's him and Semedo. Those are the two right backs of Barcelona at
Nelson
the time.
Semedo. Nelson Semedo, yes. Nelson
It's
Semedo,
Semedo
Sergino
and
Dest,
somebody
yeah.
else. Somebody else.
Sergino Dest.
Um, no, Dest wasn't there at the time. Sergio Roberto. Right.
Sergio Roberto. Yeah, but
But
again,
anyway,
like I think Sergio Roberto didn't play that much.
yeah, but my point was just, and it's not just like that was the only two right backs in the league, but it was just Trippier was that much better than a lot of the other right backs in the league, if you feel me. Because when you look at what Trippier was, it is not the same situation as with Robertson here. Robertson has always been a very straight line player. He runs very well, he has a lot of energy, he defends very well, unlike Trent, and he crosses very well. Probably not to the same level as Trent, but he crossed very, very well, right? That's his whole thing. He has a lot of energy. He's very good at what he does. In this past season, maybe even 2 seasons, he has not shown that level, right? He
I'm
only
just
got one
imagining.
assist last
I'm
season.
just,
One.
I'm just imagining a Scottish national with that accent, speaking Spanish
Ah,
in Spain. It's
I don't know. But the that's the part that confuses me is like Salah just had a record breaking season, right? One of the best ever seasons. Even if you want to say Nunes wasn't great this season, which he wasn't, you want to say Jota, all these other players weren't great, which again they weren't. One assist is actually for who he is, not just a left back, but for who Robertson is and how many games he played. It is quite literally a surprise and a shock that he is that I thought he was even get renewed, let alone that Atletico Madrid is interested in him. I thought this summer was supposed to be the summer of revolution, the summer of reinforcing our team to be closer towards Real Madrid and Barcelona. That's what our goal was. That's what publicly the club has said. So far, we've gone after players who are similar in fashion to when we were struggling with money post COVID. I am not upset at Atletico for going after free transfers and trying to patch the margin because of the fact that COVID destroyed the markets, right? That's fine. I get that. We are not in that situation anymore. We've made the most money we've made since before COVID. As you mentioned, we're making concerts. We got in the Club World Cup by participating. We get 50 million. If we win it, we get another 50. If we have Nike, Red Bull, all of these people, new sponsorships, new stadium name, everything, and you're still acting as if we don't have money, as if we don't have an objective, as if we're not trying to renew the squad. We still have one of the oldest squads in La Liga, by the way. You're going after somebody who is past it. I don't get it. That's
exactly. I mean, like if it's going for 15 million, like fine, 15 million. I can take 15 million for Andrew Robertson, fine. But it won't come for 15 million. That's for sure. And if he comes around anywhere around 30 to 40 million, I'll be pissed. I'll be really pissed. 30 to 40 for Andrew Robertson, where you can get literally, where you were literally crying to pay like more than a million, like 17, 18, 19 for Fernando, like you're literally splashing 30 to 40 for Andrew Robertson. Like, are you nuts? Like, seriously?
I
Like,
my
who are
problem
these
is
people sitting in
we
Atletico
shouldn't even be
Madrid
going
boards?
after him for free. We should be going after somebody like seriously for a left back. No, is that not what we should be doing?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, like this is a temporary solution. Like if you're going for Andrew Robertson, this is a temporary solution. Like 1 season, 2 season, maybe he can deliver. Again, I'm not sure. Maybe there's a big maybe, like maybe on that one.
Right.
Maybe he can deliver 1 season, 2 season, fine. When he will hit like 33, 34. Again, you're in the market for a new left back. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why can't you like buy a decent left back who's young, maybe who's in his prime? You know, like get those running 5, 6 years out of him. perfect. And then you look out for different options where you have to like strengthen yourself. What's the reason of this? Like back after like after 2 seasons, like you again you're in the market looking for a left back where you should be like strengthening other positions. Like for example, you'll be strengthening another. Let's say like we need a right back. Let's say a few seasons later, we need a new center back. For example, Kutirmero deal. I don't think this happened this summer. So like we Jimenez is getting old. Maybe like we replace him with a good center back. For example, Kutirmero itself. So like we should be looking for different positions. And I think for me, Kyon this was the best option economically and with the as a sporting project as well. Now, talking about like how the things would go inside the club, again, I can't really comment on that because again, this is again like how I think it all depends on Theo Hernandez, Sash, like how he portrays himself when he comes to the club, which I don't think like now he's coming to the club. But and the was not Theo Hernandez. I prefer Theo Hernandez any day, any day. I think like this is as a sporting project, Fernandez I think is a much better option. Like if you look in the market, like Alvaro Carreras, you don't want to pay 50 million for Alvaro Carreras, who's waiting for Real Madrid. Milos Kirkis, again he's going for Liverpool, 45 million. You don't want to pay that much
There
money.
are there are other options. Is my problem. Like left back is not a position that is like impossible to get. But we're not looking for any of the good options. We're just looking
Exactly,
specifically to make no
exactly.
money. To
Grimaldo,
pay no money here.
yeah, Grimaldo, another player. Again, he's in his 30s. He's gonna reach 30s again. Grimaldo, expensive option. Again, not gonna give you that much quality. Next we
But
have is what Miguel.
like Atletico, like if you look at like if we're looking around, right? We're looking around Europe and we're looking at potential players who have been coming in at left back, right? So Kirkers, as you just met, Milos Kirkers, who goes to Liverpool for around 60 million. That's his release clause, 60 million. Carreras, 50 million release clause. Nuno Mendes, who had previously gone to PSG, right? He was bought for another 50 million, right? People don't spend cheap money for fullbacks because a good fullback can win you tournaments, right? As we saw with Nuno Mendes in the Champions League, he was fantastic in the Champions League. We saw the same thing with Liverpool when they won the Champions League. Trent is the academy player. Robertson was a very good scouting thing. Both of them had over 10 assists in that same season. They were doing fantastic stuff. Why is it when we are looking for, like, I'm happy with Llorente that we had to convert Llorente into our right back. Molina was bought for 25 million. Molina's had up and down season, but they both been good, right? For left back, we put down like 2 million for the Gala and expected him to explode, and then we have no other option. Reynaldo went through ACL, so I'm unfortunate, but it looks like his time is up, right? What is the next solution? Should you not try and push for somebody, even if it's not necessarily 40, 50, 60 million, put down a little 30, 35, look for a smart option. Maybe even if not that, go to South America or Africa and look for somebody who's cheap, who has high potential, right? Even other smaller European clubs, wherever it could be. Our scouting department is so disappointing to me because even with Theo Hernandez, which I said as a sporting decision, smart, there are still better options than Theo Hernandez in terms of long-term planning. And yet we have not even discussed the aspect of maybe a Valentino Barco or the Kuiper from oh my gosh, was the Belgian team? It's Club Brugge, right? There's so many other options that are available to us, and we still don't do things. But we've discussed it. Let's move on to the Club World Cup. I feel like we'll get too deep into the upset aspect of
True,
Atletico. Let's look
true.
to the
I mean, I
positive.
definitely agree. Like, I think we should like go for a smart move. Which again, I mean, Andrew Robertson, I think definitely is a big name on the paper. But again, like, I think his time is over. His past is prime. I hope like like, I hope like, like he literally, if he signs for, I hope he flourish under Simeone. I really hope with the last
Yeah.
time to follow up and everything. I really hope he like makes my statements wrong. I really hope. I'll be happy to like to be wrong. But anyway, moving on to the FIFA Club World Cup, guys, we have a match against the European champions PSG. The last time we played PSG was again somehow we won 2-1 in the Champions League at
Somehow
their
we beat them easy.
sure, sure. Maybe I was watching a different match, but yeah, yes, sure. I hope your statement comes true for the Sunday game. I really hope. Uh, but yeah, so we have PSG, and then yeah, we beat them at Park de Princes again, which was a 2-1.
Mhm.
And yeah, again, it was a very bizarre match, I would say. Defenders were literally begging for their life throughout the match, and then still we won. But anyway, so I think this match again, I think PSG is definitely like is in a very very good mood with Luis Enrique and stuff. They're definitely going forward, like to win this tournament as well. I think they are pretty much the favorites for this tournament as well because every player in that team is literally on a different level right now. Everyone is on their like top form, like whatever, like Vitinha. Vitinha, I think for me is like the best midfielder in the world right now. Vitinha, and then they have again Nuno
I
Mendes,
don't know what you're
best
talking
left
about.
back, best
I don't
left
know what
back
you're
in the
talking
world
about.
for me actually. Best left back in the world, Nuno Mendes, and then they have the I'm really impressed with Pacho. Like wow, what a start time for Pacho. PSG has made. The guy is really underrated.
Fantastic defender. You can't say anything about him outside of that. He's just solid.
The guy
I
exactly.
swear,
He is really
Marquinhos
good.
looked so many moments to make things shaky for PSG, and Patrick just cleaned it up every time. Such a
Exactly, and
good centre back.
that guy is very very underrated. And then there's Donnarumma again, and then Vitinha and all of that. But again. So this is the game. We haven't made any signings. So like PSG hasn't made any signings as well. Dembele isn't gonna play in this match. He's injured. Is it a good news? I mean, I don't see it as a good news because again, like how can you see the massive battle of Javier versus Dembele? I mean, like is he afraid? Dembele got afraid. If that's so, is that what you think in Keats?
I understand, is Galan. He's a very big player. Things to be afraid of. But uh I guess the PSG that we'll be facing this coming Sunday would be a very different PSG than we faced the last time, of which it was already a very hard match to play. But that was quite literally our worst possible backline that we could have fielded. We played Galan, Longley, Witzel, Molina against Dembele, Barcola, and who was it? Was it Doue? It was somebody else.
So it was Dembele, and then at the front, I think it was who's playing the striker? I forgot. Maybe Gonzalo Ramos. Was he playing? I can't really remember.
I'm not sure. But a very strong lineup, a very strong midfield, a very strong backline. Molina had a fantastic game. Really showed up on that game. He was fantastic defensively and really good offensively in the very small moments that he did get to have offensive capabilities. I can't really say the same for anybody else in our backline, especially Longley, who gave away the ball and gave us a 1-0 down. Um,
No more long live, please. No more long live. We have talked about like enough about long live. Please move
yeah,
on.
we're not gonna talk about him again, but it was a shame that Jimenez and Lunamon was injured. I know Lunamon was suffering from his head injury, and Jimenez had a very untimely injury in terms of that. But still did okay. Well, as best he could talk about. Galan, not great. Uh, very very often was beaten by Dembele on the day. I think I think honestly, if PSG pushed for it, they could have won the game if they were trying to be. If they risked a bit more, they could have won that game earlier. But they didn't risk it, which was for the best for Atletico because we are even with our backline at that time, we were still doing very well, and we still managed to Oblak, heroics, etc., managed to get us into a position where we could score that 1-1, and then Griezmann, even in his bad form at that time, managed to pull off an amazing cross, allows Korea to just have a free moment, takes a shot on his weak foot, scores literally last kick of the game. Fantastic. Will that be the same situation again tomorrow? I hope not. I hope we have learned our lesson. I hope that should we come across these very strong dribbling wingers, we probably start Ronaldo, even though Ronaldo hasn't played in a long time. Every time Ronaldo has played in a big game against one of these big players, especially when he starts, he's been fantastic. Whether or not the game ends how we want it to end, that's a different question. But most times he has played well. Hopefully, Jimenez and Lemon play as well. And we start with your Llorente. We'll see what the midfield holds. We'll see what the rest of the situation is. I believe Alvarez can give us something special on the day. I believe I'll see what happens with Solot. I hope it is his day because when it's on his day, he'll be insane. Maybe PSG will be lax because they just won Champions League, whatever. I don't know. Something. I'm just the odds are not in our favor, but we could win this in my opinion. This is not an impossible game to win.
Especially, I mean, this is happening. This is happening in again. This is happening in US as well. So I think like
Yeah,
it's
so
going to
there's
be
no
different. I think it will
home or away field advantage.
exactly, and I
So
think
yeah,
true.
as
Like
you
some
say,
players might be, yeah, some players might be on a holiday mode as well. Maybe or maybe like some players might be hungry. For me, like if I see like who's hungrier more from these two things, is Atletico de Madrid. I think like we are much, like we have that hunger right now because we have like to do something because we had a season which was filled with bad luck. I think maybe it's a chance to get the trophy, and like we had like this interview from Simeone Alvarez, and everyone was saying that like like we are playing this tournament to win it. So I mean, like the players and the manager is definitely with have that attitude right now. Unfortunately, the board isn't thinking the same, which really frustrates me. But again, we'll talk about this later on. So we just focus on the match right now. So again, so PSG is they are European champions, so obviously it's gonna be a we're gonna be underdogs, obviously, and it's gonna be a very difficult match. I think we are the only team like who's able to win against them. And maybe can we repeat it? I hope so with Charlotte and everything. Let's just get on to the possible or expected lineups we have according to Marsa. So basically, we have again Oblak on goal as usual, and then Llorente on right back, and then later Oman at the right centre back, and then uh, according to Marsa, again, there's an option on the left centre back whether he wants to start a world's best left centre back in Longley or he wants to go with Jimenez. And next is I think Galang will definitely start. I think Ringo wouldn't start because again I think like this is his last season with us. He's gonna leave because of that clause in his contract that he has to play a number of games just to prevent that. I don't think he'll play the game. I don't think he'll play at all. Maybe I mean like we'll see. Like for example, like we have Seattle Sounders to play as well. In those matches, I think we can give chance. Also, I'm like I'm really happy. We have academy players, we have with us, and like we have a few matches where they can play as well. For example, Seattle Sounders. I only see Seattle Sounders in that regards where we can play as academy players. But okay, and then the right midfield, Juliano again. Juliano, I think Julian Lorento against let's say I think it's gonna be Doue and Mendes. I think it's gonna be a really good battle to see that one. And then Baris and Paul again. Baris has been in pretty good form coming to the end of the season. I hope he continues with that form. Paul again. He's our only creator with that midfield option right now. The left
hmm
hand side again. Mars is saying two options: Gallagher or Lino. I'll prefer to be honest. I'll prefer Gallagher instead of Lino. Who do you prefer, Gallagher or Lino?
um, if we're doing the very deep block where we do almost like a 6-3-1 kind of situation, I would prefer but I think we're probably going to start Gallagher because we might be a little more aggressive. We might want to start the game a little more on the front foot. Maybe I'm being optimistic, but that's what I see as what is probably going to happen. Lino and Gallagher have both had a very good end to the season, so I'm fine with either one of them. I just hope that they both have a good game and we manage to get something out of that left hand side. So yeah.
True. I mean, like the left hand side. I mean, like imagine if we had Theo Nemes and Alex Baina in that position right now. But it is what it is. And then up front is Orlot and Julian Alvarez. Again, I hope Orlot is definitely on his top of his day. Orlot has been scoring goals actually for his national team as well. And they won a very good match against Italy, which again I was really pissed off about because how can you like let Italy. How can you score 3 goals against Italy? But anyway, then we have Alvarez and Charlotte, and that's it. So that's the lineup for the Sunday game, and I think it's a good lineup. I think we've seen this lineup throughout the season. We know our strengths and we know our weakness as well, especially when I look at the left hand side. I see a massive leak. But again, we'll see how it falls on. I think for PSG it's going to be the same with Nuno Mendes, William Pacho, Marquinhos, Hakimi, and then the midfield going to be Neves, and then Fabian Ruiz and Vitinha, and then on the wings, Doue, Dembele isn't playing, so I think I'm going with Gonzalo Ramos.
Kavara and Doue, yeah. And but it's
Yeah,
probably Kavara, Doue, and Bakula, huh? Or what do you think Ramos is starting?
I think Ramos because Doue hasn't played. I think Kvaratskhelia can play. Kvaratskhelia can play on the left wing. I think Doue might shift to the right hand side, or maybe Bakula can shift to the right hand side. We'll see. I think striker might like Gonzalo Ramos might start because Luis Enrique prefers Dembele as that false nine kind of a thing. Without
Mm.
him, I think it's gonna be Gonzalo Ramos starting in that position. So this is the lineup. I think we can. I mean, like we do have the only thing I see is that left hand side of us where we can actually like we have that leak. I think right hand side is definitely covered. I don't think we're gonna have any threats from there. I think Julian and Julian with their work rate they can handle Kvaratskhelia and Mendes easily. But the left hand side, I'm not sure. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I mean, like Javi gets killed literally by any other winger who's fast, who has a really good pace. So that's gonna happen. And anyway, I mean, this is our first match to the Club World Cup as well. Today's the opening ceremony. I hope we do well. We've been training at this historic Los Angeles Olympic Stadium. But anyway, let's just move on to the score predictions. What do you think was going to happen in the match? I mean, like our score predictions have been wrong ever since we started doing this, but
Well, if they've been
hopefully,
wrong, then I have to give a very realistic answer this time. Clearly, it's going to be 5-0 Atletico. Clearly, we're going to just absolutely
wow,
demolish PSG. But seriously,
wow.
I'll
I mean,
go for
again,
2-1
again,
again. I'll go for another 2-1.
again, again. I'll tell you, bro. I'll tell you. Like you should think before you speak. If we win 5-0, I'm telling you, the board of Atletico de Madrid would be like, do we need a
Yeah,
revolution
no.
in this club?
Do we need reinforcements if we get 5-0 against PSG? We can win everything. Oh boy.
What can we, I'm
Uh,
telling you, like, I mean, think before you speak, bro. Like, don't over
uh,
exaggerate right now.
I'm expecting either a 2-1 loss or a draw, but we'll see. I don't really expect us to beat PSG. Not because I don't think we can. I think we can beat PSG. I just think the possibility of us beating them off of the high of the Champions League, and then again for the Portuguese players off the high of them winning the Nations League as well. It's probably not for the best situation for us. So I think it's probably a little bit of a probably not gonna happen to me, but I think we can beat the other two. So hopefully it's a draw or a win, whichever one gives us more money to hopefully buy Bayana. That's my honest feeling. So yeah, that's it.
I hope so. I hope so. But I think I'm gonna go with a 2-1 win for Atletico Madrid because again, I need a win. Like even though it's, but again, I'll keep it. I'll keep it. Like certain. I'll keep it. Not that.
Nice and reasonable.
Nice
Okay.
and yeah, nice and hard fought win. I would say a 2-1 win against PSG. That would be my prediction. But anyway, to all the Athletic Nation that's watching us right now, do let us know your opinions about this whole bizarre left back transfer saga which we're having right now. Who would you prefer, Andy Robertson or Theo Hernandez in that position for the left back of Atletico de Madrid? And what do you think about us ditching Theo Hernandez and going for Andy Robertson right now? Which is coming from the latest news right now. And do let us know about your opinions on PSG versus Atletico de Madrid as well. What do you think about the possible lineups and what do you think about the score prediction as well? Like, what would be your score prediction? And as always, please subscribe and like this video, share it with your other Atletico de Madrid fans. Let's create this big community among Atleti fans. And will see you guys again for the review of the match of PSG Atletico Madrid. Hopefully, it's a like it turns into a very, very happy review instead of something frustrating coming out of us. But yes, I think there's going to be a lot of transfer talks in between as well. I think like we'll probably do it on Monday, and yeah, we have to cover the transfer news as well. Until then, keep watching us, keep liking this video, and Upa Teti. See you guys.